My mom had a toe fungus that she couldn't even work on. I have a rash. I didn't eat pizza until I was 19. I don't even know what sushi is. I don't really follow too much Nick Fuentes. I know he's a very good statesman. He's really eloquent. He's good. He's fairly good at debating, depending on the topics. He has a good sense of history, much better sense than me, but that's a low bar. And he advocates for some good things, and he also has sort of like a wonky, perverse base at the same time. So there's this back and forth where Tucker Carlson and Nick Fuentes are going at it now. And Tucker has this approach where it's like there's a dissident right who is of value and should be listened to, and they have valid concerns and positions. And then there are these types that get elevated in the media who then represent the dissident right that would otherwise be listened to absent this polarizing figure, which is sometimes true. It just happens that way. But the question here is whether or not this is a fair shake for Nick Fuentes from Tucker Carlson. And honestly, I actually haven't dived in enough to make a decision about it myself. So Tucker's red in the face. I mean, the fact that Tucker Carlson is talking with Chocolatey Candy Owens about Nick Fuentes shows that the sort of unauthorized space on the right is now becoming sort of like household names. Not super mainstream yet, because Tucker's kind of been pushed out of, quote, mainstream. But I honestly think mainstream is dissolving because of technology. I don't think there's much more of a thing called mainstream at this point that isn't just a propped up illusion with fake numbers and all that. But let's just take a listen here.
Obvious to me. I've been around a long time. I know it when I see it.
Yeah, and I will say I don't understand it. We were very kind to him. Like, I truly, like, we almost said, like, we felt maybe he was a bit lonely. We should invite him back for dinner. I mean, that's how good of an experience I had.
Clearly it's
and then
it
was a 180. So it's either A, it's being driven from, like, a little boy insecurity, and he just was so worried that he, like, just went on the attack because he doesn't know how to have normal relations after being banned everywhere.
Well, I think there's that could
be one element.
The angry gay kid thing going on. Yeah.
Or it's what you're saying, where he does this, he's lying to everybody and pretending that things are one way when it's not. I can say
Why is he attacking Joe Kent?
Something about Candace Owens I can't really handle is like her cadence and her voice. Like if I swapped out the background of this setting and I put it in like Saved by the Bell and there was lockers, you know what I mean? Lockers behind her. Like the way she talks reminds me of like, it's in between classes and before the bell rings, like Candace Owens is like going to get a couple of more things in. You know what I mean? It's like this weird, like ninth grade sort of, like a gossipy, like, and then.
Joe Kent worked as a CIA contractor, paramilitary contractor. He's in the U.S. military for years fighting our neocon wars. And his wife was killed in Syria in one of those wars. Joe Kent is the single most sincere critic.
You sure about that?
And I would say the one with the most...
I hate those inserts.
...credibility in the United States to say this foreign policy is bad. It killed my wife. I was a part of it.
I actually like that show, Saved by the Bell. It's like we're always Saved by the Bell. It's like every time. It's unfortunate what happened to Screech in real life, but I actually enjoyed him. I actually connected with him the most out of all the characters. Screech was my boy.
Joe Kent is actually someone the CIA doesn't like at all because he understands how it operates. And for Nick Fuentes, who's like some child from Chicago, to go after him specifically, one congressional seat in Washington State.
That is random.
It's not random, though. It's the opposite of random. Joe Kent was number one on the list of people they wanted to knock off, people who believe in our neocon foreign policy. They wanted Joe Kent out because he could stand up and say, I actually know. I've got the receipts. My wife was killed in Syria. You had to take that guy out. And Nick Fuentes, this child, this weird little gay kid in his basement.
Oh, damn. Oh, snap. I mean, that's a lot. Like, Tucker Carlson, like, he's got, when he swings, you know, when he moves, his tail knocks some things over. I don't know as much now as he did before, being a part of, like, the legacy media or whatever. But that's hilarious.
In Chicago, is
what happened to Screech? He died.
Participating in a super PAC to bump off Joe Kent. Like, I've been around this my whole life. I know what that is. It's just an organized effort.
Yeah.
And he also did the thing that David Duke always did, including to me, which is be like, oh, yeah, it's my friend. And everyone's like, oh, Tucker Carlson's been endorsed by David Duke. I've been making, like, the anti-racist argument my whole life.
Right.
Like, I'm not for David Duke. Do I think David Duke is right when he's against affirmative action? You bet I do.
You know what's interesting? David Duke shared a backyard with Theo Vaughn and took him to the gym. It's really weird and random. It's not actually random. David Duke helps write Theo Vaughn's jokes. It's like, that's why it's so funny. Glad to have you back, King of Jortlandia. Thank you so much, Brady. Appreciate that donation. Tony held it down for us, though. Yeah, Tony did a great job. He was like, Jimmy's gone. Jimmy's gone. I'm going to stream every single day, every hour. Jimmy's gone. What? He's gone. There's got to be a replacement. Basement. I'm going to be basement. Infected Mushroom, $5. This attack on Nick was unnecessary and petty. Tucker admits to being evil. Did he? I don't remember admitting to be evil. I may have said that in passing, but I was at a bar. But now I'm not sure if Bridget is a man or not. Candace broke my trust. Candy went a little too far on like in one area. People attacked me too. I like made fun of Candy Owens, right? And they're all, you ain't coping. You're working for the Jews now. I'm like, dude. Candy Owens has always been a little insufferable to me. And it's that high school thing. It's like you put her in front of a locker, take out the back screen, put in a green screen of a locker. She's holding books like this. And she's like, yeah, and then Tiffany said this. It's just like, it's probably just a female thing for me.
But I'm not for David Duke. But David Duke would try to discredit people by hugging them. And that's exactly what Fuentes did. He goes out there and meet all these people. Shop, hi, I'm Nick Fuentes. Can I get my picture with you? That's a campaign to destroy credible voices on the right. And Fuentes is part of it. And I know I'm inviting endless trouble by saying this because, you know, this is a kid with a lot of spare time, but it's just a fact. And I've seen it a lot.
Yeah.
And I you can believe me or not, but I know what I'm talking about.
I can confirm he's dishonest. I mean, there's no, so it's like you use that as your, like, I could not determine what his motives were. And I said, you know what? I don't have time for this. I gave you a fair chance, gave you a fair shake, and you are a fundamentally dishonest human being.
Dude, whatever. We saw the video, Candace. You had Nick Fuentes on, and you tried to do this like, I'm going to be hard-hitting like Oprah. And you came out swinging, and it didn't go so well for you. Okay, definitely between the exchange with Candace Owens and Nick Fuentes had the upper hand, had better talking points, better arguments, better counters to her positions, and wasn't driven by emotion, pure emotion. She was trying to do like, well, I'm going to take this guy up, right, and put him on my thing, make people pay for it, by the way, and then go after him, but it didn't work. You just tried to do a setup, right? You tried to do a setup with Nick Fuentes, but it backfired, and now you're coping with Tucker Carlson. I honestly think this stuff happens behind the scenes. I think there are conversations, obviously, that happen outside of the shooting of these things, and then Candy Owens texting Carlson. He's like, that backfired. Can you help me? Can you tell? I mean, can you pretty please help me? Can we set up a Tucker Carlson show so I can do cleanup and damage control? Can we do that? Can we do that? I don't have any problem doing that. It'd probably get a lot of eyes on me and you. It'd probably be mutually good. Honestly, because that was such a bad thing that was a bad look for Candace, that whole exchange, because Nick was prepared and Candace wasn't. That's the one thing about Nick Fuentes, regardless of what you think of him and his following and whether or not you know, the whole thing, whether or not you agree with any of his takes, honestly, he's prepared. He's prepared. He's well-versed. Right, Vagine? Vagine?
Watching a CIA asset and a grifter talk shit about an FBI informant is funny.
That's actually really funny if they were all part of the same like sort of entity. Big hug from Boom Festival. Miguel, thank you, Miguel. Nice to see you. Portugal, put in the hippies freaks to listen to Jimbob. By the way, I love the Tucker impression. Keep it up. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. We're at 20 to 50. Again, if you're late to the stream, I'm doing an epic stream today, which will include, once we hit the goal, a visit. A long time awaited visit from your favorite New Age guru, known up to this point as Christological. He's gonna give you guys an overview of what's been happening with him, and we'll get him up on TikTok to engage with some panels. But you got to earn it. Suzanne Griffith, $5. Thank you. Candace has become just a gossip channel, in my opinion. Her Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds stuff was nuts. It kind of is. It's like remember like E! News Entertainment and like TMZ? I think she's just looking at the numbers, and it's like, and this is true. It's like, if I've got numbers person who's like looks at things and he just gives me, he's like, well, I mean, you could go this route or this route. You know, I'm always torn with looking at numbers and going toward numbers, but it's objectively true that the numbers show that sort of gossip stuff, drama, online drama of streamers or talking heads. This is always, it's not something new. It just happens to be like the go-to bread and butter for a lot of pundits and YouTubers and streamers. You know what I mean? So they go in this direction. So I think this was a conscious decision for her, where she was like, well, I got to exit this sort of like authorized political space where I have lanyards and badges. I'm going to do my own thing. I would hate this. If I were her husband, I would just hate this. If every day my wife is all, it's like, that's what a neighborhood is for.
You know, there was no reason to do it. If he had not done that show and screamed and yelled, his followers would have been like, oh, that was an interesting conversation between two people who agreed some, disagreed some, and like that was it. It was interesting that he got there. He doesn't want to be, and I can tell you that he doesn't want to be anywhere but where he is. He doesn't want to have normal relations. And it did sort of feel, and I said that to him, that he's like responding to orders somewhere, because why are you attacking me?
Well,
attacking? What are you talking about, dude? Lady, you literally opened the conversation attacking Nick Fuentes. And I'm not even like a fan or simp of Fuentes, but it's clearly the case that you came out swinging and it didn't go well. And now you're all, I bit his ankles and now he's like hitting me back, and he pummeled me in this conversation. He was yelling at me. Whatever. So pathetic. Candy, you're pathetic. Nala is to Christians as Candace is to Jacebergs. That's funny. That kind of is true now, Gary, unfortunately.
Why are you attacking Dave Smith? What is the issue with Dave Smith? And he couldn't answer the question.
Exactly.
Dave Smith?
He couldn't answer the question. He was just like, well...
The fakest thing I've ever seen.
And I'm like, why do you hate Dave Smith over Joe Rogan?
But Nick did not take this lightly with what many are saying.
Yeah. By the way, I just shout out to the channel that I'm sniping this from, Atlas Thugged. No, I didn't change the name. I didn't go to this guy because of the word thug. I just saw something with the least amount of commentary. And I didn't know his voice was going to be like this. Yeah.
Saying is his greatest.
To being the CIA by Peter Thiel's to being
Greatest claim.
And this is what the whole thing is about, right? This is like some sort of thing here. Thank you so much, Craig. Very generous. $20. Christo VW Bus Fund. Yeah, right, Christo. Yeah, I want to see Christo. You want to see Christo. Some of my audience might not even know who Christo is at this point.
Back of all time.
Okay, so this is the thing is like he's calling out Tucker for being in the being from the CIA, which is, if someone's raised with a CIA dad, sometimes they get sort of pulled into it, I guess. But it's hard to come to a clear conclusion on that for sure. Like, this could go back to like different things, like even the Doors, like the lore about Jim Morrison. You know what I mean? Jim Morrison probably was some nerdy kid who wanted to be a mathematician, and his dad, who was I forget his name, some General Morrison of I think he was a part of like the Gulf of Tonkin, Jesse Ventura, the Gulf of Tonkin. People say that he was sort of groomed to be Jim Morrison, and really he was like a nerdy kid. He was like, General Dad is all, what do you want to do, Jimmy, when you grow up? He's all, I want to be a spelling bee champion. And he's like, well, I have other ideas for you. Can you be sort of like a strung out? We want you to be a strung out. How would you like to do culture creation? I want you to be a strung out, drug-addled, free spirit, demonic force that undermines everything good and traditional in society. He's like, I don't want to. I want to be math. I want to be a math whiz, Dad. Just give it a shot. Just do this first. Come on, baby, what my... Just say it, Jimmy. I promise you're going to be rewarded with women and leather. You could pee on stage. Do whatever you want. Just try a couple of sayings for me. I promise. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Just say, I am the Lizard King. I don't want to, Dad. Say it.
Time. Here is the uncut 7-minute response.
I'm being accused of being the CIA by Peter Thiel's best boys, by Tucker Carlson with his daddy. Tucker Carlson's, and you know what? Here's the other thing. Tucker Carlson said I'm a weird gay kid in the basement. Yeah, and I'm from Chicago. You're right.
Wait, what? You don't want to say you're right after that statement, bro. I know that's a petty thing. Sometimes we'll say things. You know what I mean? One time, Hello Listener during a stream said he takes all the D's. It's not his fault. We say things. Maybe this is that case, but certainly you want to be prepared when you're countering Tucker Carlson or someone big like this. You don't want to say, Tucker Carlson said I'm a gay kid and I live in my basement. I'm from Chicago. Well, he's right. You don't want to say that. Matt Dillamonkey says for $5, I'm a secular humanist, too intelligent to believe in God, but I believe men can get pregnant, gender is a feeling, and my husband is actually my wife. Thank you, Matt Dillamonkey. Always trying to stay relevant.
Well, okay, you're not a right...
Hello Listener says I didn't say it like that. Well, we'll be the judge of that, Tony.
About all of that. But I wasn't born with a silver spoon in my mouth. Tucker Carlson says, I have so many trust funds, I never have to work. Tucker went to a $45,000 per year private high school, then a $45,000 per year selective Ivy League school in New England. Tucker Carlson's daddy was a Reagan appointee. And then, after years of bragging about being an elite, bragging about being so out of touch and so rich, now he's going to be the spokesperson for all the white people. Now he's going to roll up his sleeves. I just like to hunt and fish in my log cabin. I care about Klarna and credit card debt. But then when it comes to me, I'm one of the real disaffected white people. You want to talk about me and them? I am them. He says Nick Fuentes is leading all of the disaffected young white men. I am a disaffected young white man. I was a precocious, intelligent, young white college student who went to Boston University, who was pro-Trump and red-pilled by Trump and animated by Trump's message of America first. And I asked questions about Israel, and I was punished for it. I did it years before Tucker Carlson started talking about Israel last year. And I sacrificed, and I was targeted by the ADL, by the SPLC, by the federal government, by the conservative movement that both Candace and Tucker were a part of. Candace and Tucker had nothing to say about Israel until it became unavoidable last year. Not popular, but unavoidable. And now they want to gatekeep me out and do this personality attack and say I'm a bitter loser in my basement from Chicago. I'm a kid from Chicago. And they slipped up there because they forgot for 1 second that they're pretending to be the spokesperson for exactly that kind of person. Tucker's mask slipped, and he forgot for a minute that for 8 years he's been pretending to care about the plight of weird kids in their parents' basement who are broke and didn't go to an Ivy League school, living in cities that don't matter like Chicago, not like Washington, D.C. or LA or New York. And that's why he had such disdain and contempt for me in that moment.
I actually kind of agree with him. Now, I don't know to what extent that this sort of co-opting occurs where you see a movement that's led by someone who's well-spoken, who's aggressive, who can argue fairly well. Nick Fuentes is all of those things. Whether you like it or not, he's charismatic. He's actually pretty funny if you watch him. He has made me laugh a variety of times. I disagree with his theology. I disagree with his takes. Ultimately come down to materialism. They come down to like worldly pursuits. And I'm not talking about fleshly desires or anything. I'm talking about like outcome-based stuff. It gets back down to like some utility system as opposed to operating inside the church in the world. And ultimately you're part of something much bigger that transcends all of these things. Not to minimize these problems, the problems of diversity, the problems of Zionism, the problem of the basically dissolving of tradition and culture in societies in Europe, in a variety of places that have held their own way of life. I do believe, I agree with Nick, I do believe that there are nations and that there are peoples, and they're not all compatible, and they all can exist on their own. And this weird view of diversity that's pushed by all sorts of people with power and without power, this view that the ideal is to mix everybody up. That's the ideal. I disagree with that. I don't think cultures are all compatible. I would say that it's a low amount of cultures that are compatible and compared to all of the cultures that exist. Now, I do think that when someone like this, who starts to develop a bigger swing, a bigger tail when they move, the dissolving of sort of mainstream media and its power, it makes sense that someone like Nick Fuentes or anyone else who's getting more notoriety, they are going higher on the seesaw. And so they get elevated in status and notoriety and they reach more people. And Tucker Carlson, I think Nick is onto something here, that Tucker Carlson has sort of been presented as the disaffected right, the one that gets kicked out of the mainstream and the conservative groups, right, the neocons. And now he's doing his thing, and it kind of makes sense that the other guy in the room, the other guy at the lunch table who has already planted his feet is Nick Fuentes. They kind of want him out because they want that space. You know, I hate to use the term space, but that's kind of what it is. It's a space. It's like it's a space, an influential space. And they can't have him in there. It's too sharp. It's too hard cutting. It's too divisive. It's not good for a broad audience. It funnels the audience to be sort of very rigid. And they can't have that because I think it's money. I think it's like business. I think this is business. This isn't politics or arguing for the better of humanity or the better for America. I think what we're watching is like a business quarrel.
Between the personality attacks, he's lonely, he's weird, he lives in a basement. I'm sorry, did you guys forget that that's your target audience that you're trying to pander to? Did you forget that for 2 seconds? And I'm the inauthentic person? I am that person. I am a spokesman for the disaffected white man because I am one, and you two are not. Candace Owens got married to British royalty worth $200 million after meeting him for 2 weeks on Zoom. What the fuck is even that about?
You know what I would do with $200 million? I would make insanely stupid video games. I'm sorry to derail. It's when someone says $200 million, I think, oh man, like the things I could make with that. Like Tony and I could make and launch the Guardian Quantralescent for that money. Provo says it's fed on fed entertainment. I think that's totally, I don't have enough intel, Provo. I mean, that could just be a hot take and it could be right. I wouldn't have any ability to know that. I would think it was even funnier if it was that. I would almost enjoy it more if I knew it was just fed on fed and like, you know, agencies and their talking heads working against each other like WWE. That gives me a peace of mind, at least, to take that approach where it's just like, yeah, this is all silly entertainment. This is like MTV. You remember like when MTV launched their first VJing? It was like video. It's a video commentator. And it was like this new weird thing, branching away from radio. It's like if they didn't do music, but they did all politics, I feel like I'm watching MTV. Hunter Cry Alone. Hey, Hunter Cry Alone. What happened to that guy? $10. Thank you. Nick called me a soy boy, so I drew a giant booger on his face to make him look like a pompous, snobby brat. Of course, I'd never do that in person. I don't want to get beat up. I bet Nick Fuentes knows like sort of nerdy karate moves.
And Tucker Carlson's dad ran the CIA's propaganda empire fighting the Soviet Union. He went and fought with the Contras when he was in college.
I need to learn how to yell like this more. I'm too chill. I'm upset. And then Tucker Carlson has a daddy from the CIA. I went to a good school, and so did he. I had a CD player growing up, and he had a better one. I need to start doing that. I think I could do it. If I had something that got me that excited, I just don't understand how. I mean, that's why I believe a lot of this is show, and I have no problem with entertainment and showcasing and, you know, throwing your peacock feathers around. But I'm just trying to be like, how do you feel that much about Tucker Carlson? Like, maybe I'm just more dead. You know, I'm 44. I'm a dad. I'm worn down. Look at this gray beard. I wish I had like a pull string or like a wind up where I could just get all yelly. I couldn't dunk growing up. I didn't even have football in my high school. I graduated with 30 kids and half of them are dead right now. Yeah! You jerk!
When I was in college, I was doing a webcam show.
What?
In my friend's dorm room, criticizing Israel.
I did it first. I've been through a lot here. I was marching with Bernie Sanders before Bernie Sanders even knew Bernie Sanders was going to beat Bernie Sanders. I'm trying to like understand what the hell's going on here. The Groypers refuse to learn jiu-jitsu for obvious reasons. Calm Rock. Quay, $5. Thank you so much. We're closer to the goal, by the way. We're almost at 30. I won't release him right away, but he will be released. Old Christo. Pretty excited for that, by the way. This is going to be an epic stream, by the way. I've only just started. I don't often do very long streams, but I'm down for it tonight. Why? Because I missed a whole week of income. This guy doesn't have to worry about income, and neither does Tucker Carlson, damn it. I went away with my family. I sat on the beach. I got stung by a jellyfish. I also learned what sea lice are. I have expenses. This isn't free. I missed a whole week of working out and my shoulders are dwindling. They were starting to get big and now I look like the silhouette of a ladybug. And these two are arguing of who calls out the Jews first. Whatever. You probably have a Mercedes-Benz Hearst that's customized. I like that you don't have access to the rage. Well, that's, hello, listener, not anymore. Now I'm starting to get it. K-Ram is, why are we shouting? Because I'm trying to figure out what I could be possibly upset about enough to yell and scream. It seems to be the thing that you do. I mean, how can you be mad with this hat? If you have this hat, even if you can't feed your children that week, like, how can you possibly be mad? I understand that you don't do as well as many other people, Jimbob. And I know that taking a week off from work for some of your notoriety, it's probably pretty hard. But someone with wearing that hat, you couldn't possibly be upset. I mean, look at your hat. I wish I had that hat. Could you send it to me? Anyway, let's get back to this rant.
So who's the CIA cutout? Who's the inauthentic one? Who's the crazy, hateful one? I would never describe a well-meaning young white person who's trying to get ahead as a weird kid in his basement from Chicago.
He said a weird gay kid. Here you go, Jimbob. Get some cream for that jellyfish sting on your bum. Serious. Wasn't that bad. I just pee on myself immediately. And just drink a lot of water and go into the water. Hunter Krylone, another $10. You see, Nick Fuentes might shove me in a locker, give me a swirly, and slam dunk me into a trash can. And honestly, I don't want to be around for that. Everyone should start calling me the Wimp. It's not a bad name right now, the Wimp. Popular. Slowboy Whiteboard, $5. I'm driving and the car in front of me has a bumper sticker that says, keep honking. I'm watching David Cronenberg's 1981 cinematic masterpiece, Scanners. Interesting. I didn't see that, actually. Am I missing some? Scanners. No, I was thinking Scanner Darkly. I'm going to have to look at that.
And what is that supposed to mean? What is wrong with being from Chicago? What is wrong with being weird? What is wrong with living in your basement? That's a lot of people because of the problems you claim to care about. Tucker's at Turning Point USA extolling the predatory nature of usury and how it's preventing young white men from getting homes. And then the week after says you're in your mom's basement. So which is it? Do you care about Klarna and people going into debt to order pizzas and home ownership being impossible? Or do you think that's a contemptible, low-status thing to be ridiculed and mocked? Who's pandering here exactly? Because that wasn't you. You were born to the Swanson family fortune and your daddy who ran the CIA. You know, my dad didn't even graduate college. My dad worked for the tollway. His dad died of a drug overdose in the 70s. My mother's father was
My mom had a toe fungus that she couldn't even work on. I have a rash. I didn't eat pizza until I was 19. I don't even know what sushi is.
A garbage man in Chicago, and he committed suicide. He was a veteran of World War II.
I need my violin music, honestly.
Who's the CIA cutout? Who's the poser? Who is America?
Who is Americhunk is a better question. We gotta... Dude, can we edit that section? We need this clip. We need to do a fake rant, Tony, from Nick Fuentes about, like, instead of Tucker Carlson, he's actually ranting against land whale, Jamicular. It's totally doable, by the way. We can have a whole thing. Sorry to give it away. I mean, Tony hates me for this. Every time I have, like, this fun idea, I should be texting him and talking to him, but I just tell everybody. Hello, listener says this is a real moment. Oh, yeah, says the guy who also thinks a guy with a toilet bowl on his head eating ice cream and rubbing a school bus on his hair thinks it's a real moment. He might as well have a toilet bowl on his head. Tony?
I am America. Chicago.
I'm Americhunk. I am Americhunk. We are Americhunk. I'm obsessed with my Ortho Thug show, by the way. If you're not following, you should be. Because that's where all of this stuff goes. This is just a blender. The whole week is a blender, and I put it in the blender and I just turn it on smoothie, and then I pour it into a nice tall glass of Ortho Thugs. That's all I can think about.
Chicago is America. That's an American story.
That's an Americhunk story.
I didn't go to Yale Law School and suck Peter Thiel's dick and then get a sinecure at a venture capital firm advising Rebecca Mercer and writing Hillbilly Elegy and talking about it at the Aspen Institute. That's your biographical credibility? How many of these disaffected white people that love Trump because he's racist went to Yale Law School and got plucked out by Peter Thiel, whoever he even is? Peter Thiel, with his fixation with the Antichrist, this homosexual who's involved with the CIA, who wants to live forever and govern the world with AI. Yeah, that's really relatable. That's really relatable. Do another show with him and Curtis Yarvin. Do another show. Do the 47th show with J.D. Vance.
I mean, he's saying true things. I just don't know what's upsetting. Tony, can you do one of these about someone else? Like, I'm trying to think of what's equivalent for me. Like, how do I fabricate a dramatic rant? I need that shirt. I got to do a parody rant with that shirt. Can someone find me his shirt? Is that on his merch? Thing is, I can't ever impersonate these people because I have a beard. And it's just wrong for me to not have a beard. But I want to rant. I want to do a rant. I need to do a rant section. It's actually why I created this background. This is like the beginnings of my like monologue rant thing. And maybe I'll make myself red or something. You know what I mean? Let me see. Make myself red. Let's see. Where's the hue? Yeah. Do like that. Do something where I'm just ranting and screaming about stuff. And you know what else? And I'm tired of it. That's it. Tone's Ortho Bullies rant was solid. I want to watch it. I missed it. I'll take a look.
It is insulting, and it is insulting to everybody's intelligence for Tucker to sit there and say he doesn't know his dad is in the CIA, for him to say that I'm in the CIA. What a joke. What a sick joke. Especially after everything that's happened to me. And unlike what Candace Owens says, she says, what happened to him when he was 18? What happened to me is ongoing. Okay? Unlike Candace Owens and Tucker, I never got a contract with Ben Shapiro and Rupert Murdoch. I was on Maker Support. I was on Patreon. I was on D Live. I had to fight for everything I have. I didn't get $1 million contract from Turning Point. I didn't get $20 million from Fox News. My daddy didn't get me a job in Arkansas.
Why are we cutting to Whoopi Goldberg?
And to add some additional housekeeping, a claim from Tucker that is getting a...
I don't understand it. I'm just trying to figure out what's going on here. You know what I mean? Like, is it just I had it harder than you, or... I mean, I guess it only matters because Tucker Carlson is pretty big, and so when he swings, you feel it. It, like, shifts, but honestly, Tucker Carlson coming after you is good for you. If you're looking at it just purely from, like, from that position, you know what I mean? Like, it's not that... And then there was this part where his assassination of Nick Fuentes is parallel to his earlier assassination of, like, Pat Buchanan. And he's contradicting himself. Let's take a look at that and see if that matters. Does this matter? Does this even matter? Do we even know what matters? I'm done with it.
My dad as a CIA, his dad's in the CIA or whatever. And I'm like, well, that's no, untrue. And my father dies, and I learn, actually, yeah, was involved in that world. I was completely shocked by it. So when I applied to CIA, and I've taken a lot of crap, including from Putin, like, oh, you're from a CIA family. Well, yeah, obviously my father worked in conjunction with CIA. I mean, that's what that is.
That's what that is. I wanted to jump out of a plane with a little side shooter. I wanted to sneak into a museum. So I actually didn't know what the CIA did or what it was. Did I want to get involved? Of course. This isn't really controversial, by the way. If you're like a family member, sometimes you don't know, the extent of your dad's work or your mom's work if they're in these situations. So that's not like a big out or anything like that. I don't think that's like a big, like, oh my goodness. It's a battle of authenticity. Tucker fired, first calling Nick into question, and then Nick did his Tucker show, exposing Tucker's dirty laundry. Fair enough. I think maybe it's only worth Nick responding because maybe they share audience. Does that make sense? Maybe that's why it's like so important or something like this. Maybe. I don't know.
I tried to join the CIA, but I'm not being false about it.
I think it is safe to say at this point that the entire political landscape is threatened platforms. That is an indicator they have no...
I mean, maybe. Maybe that's the case. Maybe. Nick acting like he should have more appeal to a wide audience than these professionals is insane. I guess it depends the topic, though, there, Dork Jensen. I think for certain topics, I think Nick Fuentes is better to listen to on certain topics than those two, especially Candace Owens. Candace Owens is a mess. To me, I think she's a mess. I think she's like, she kind of like settled down, you know what I mean? She was like a stone, and she was at the top because of the controversy. She came out of that Gamergate or whatever, and then I knew right away when I saw her, she was going to be super famous. And then, you just kind of like, and you just get to where you settle. So I think she finally settled basically where she is now. Bobby Ballbags, $5. Urgent PSA, Barbasol, yeah, is not safe replacement and or ingredient for boofing butt chugs or enemas. 10 out of 10 would not recommend. Yeah, I don't think we'll have to hear from the Americhunk spokesperson on that, who is not Tony from Hello Listener. His name is Jamicular Landwell.